why we need a good Nintendo Switch 2 eShop. Now, the Nintendo Switch 2 eShop is looking pretty interesting, but there's still some things that I'm wondering, scratching my noggin and asking, why Nintendo? Why did you decide to do this instead of this? Now, a good eShop would require you to stay included in the eShop and browse around. Now, the Nintendo Switch eShop is a horrible eShop, and not gonna lie, I don't think I bought more than $10 of a game on the Switch eShop. Now, if you count Breath of the Wild DLC, I did get that. But besides that, I didn't really stay into the eShop and browse around. Usually, what I did on the Wii U or 3DS, I would like to stay in the eShop and browse around because it keeps you hooked and it keeps you, what if I click on this profile? Ooh, I see all of the games and they look really awesome. But we didn't really get that in Nintendo Switch. And not gonna lie, it was the laggiest mess ever. But Nintendo made sure to tell you that the Switch 2 eShop has been fixed. The performance issues and everything has been fixed. But we'll still not be seeing any music. So, I mean, it's a little bit sad that you won't be able to do the boogie, but at least the performance issues are fixed. So there's also going to be a tab that you can refresh every week about to see new games that are associated to you. So whatever games you play, you'll have games recommended that are going to look up to what you just played. So overall, it's going to be something that we're going to have to see. But a good eShop, why you really need one on a Nintendo platform is, to keep you hooked in. What if there's a game that you want to buy, but you don't really know it's out there because you don't go in the eShop much? Because there's not really a point to going in the eShop because you're like, I'm going to be here. It's kind of boring. It's always showing the same things. But Nintendo Switch 2 is apparently going to fix a lot of those issues, but still not going to have any music because it's going to tone down on the performance. But I'm like, why don't just mute it when there's videos playing? But anyways, that's Nintendo for you. So overall, a good eShop would necessarily bring a lot of customers to the store and allow them to browse around, look for games that they've never played before. Because I know for a fact that there's a lot of games on the Wii U and 3DS that I was just sitting there browsing. Like, there's a game, Kirby's Blow Up Blast. That's right. I clicked on the Kirby profile or whatever, and I was just scrolling through until it's like, this is a pretty interesting game. So anyways, I wanted to get it because it looked pretty interesting. So that's what I did. I found the game to be quite fun. So overall, I think that a good eShop would allow you to find games that you've never played before. Different genres, different series of games that maybe you want to try out. Like right now, I've been really into the JRPG style kind of games thingy because I played Minecraft Dungeons. I thought that game was really, really fun. So now the eShop's not really recommending some games that are kind of like that. But overall, I'm just trying to look for games that, use this style. It's much harder to find games like that on the internet. You search up that and it's probably going to bring up the top 25 best. But what if you wanted some kind of just a game that no one really found out? That's why a good eShop would essentially give you games that you've never really figured out, this is a game for me. This is a good game. Most of the time, what the Nintendo Switch eShop is, it's either a whole bunch of garbage that's just splat out there and it doesn't actually change. It's just like, Hold.io or Watermelon Simulator or Cooking Gameplay, There's a whole bunch of games that just look like, what is this? Shovelware? Great. Okay, so I'm scrolling. Oh, man, it crashed. Using the Switch eShop is really, really hard. That's why I barely ever go in there. I only go in there if I want a free game or I need an update for something or I just deleted my entire Nintendo Switch just to, make it nice and fresh and new. But besides that, there's not really a point of going into the Nintendo Switch eShop. Nintendo Switch 2, on the other hand, they're about to fix that, but it's still going to look very, very similar to the Nintendo Switch. We're going to see better performance, though. We're also going to be seeing no music, just like Switch. We're also going to be seeing different games and videos that show up and play for your liking. You can also turn it off if you want to, so it doesn't actually pop up every time. But for now, you will be seeing just the little nice little bubbles that show up, and it shows, oh, here's the entire trailer. Underneath it shows the price of the game and your friends playing that game. So overall, the aesthetics of the Switch 2 eShop looks pretty fine. Like, it does what it has to do. It shows you the gameplay, it shows you who's playing, and overall, I think that this is a pretty welcome change. But in my opinion, I feel like adding a little bit of music to, add to that boogie would make the eShop a better place. But overall, you can't ask for the biggest amount of difference. Nintendo specifically specified that they wanted performance over customization and features. So, a good eShop would really improve that. Maybe I'll be browsing the eShop and be like, there's a pretty good game here. It's called Pig Simulator 2. Pretty interesting game. So, I don't know. Pig Simulator over here will for sure be pretty interesting. But overall, I think that maybe if Nintendo would have took something like the 3DS or Wii U eShop, maybe there would be more players who are willing to go into the eShop, browse around the games. Because that eShop, I can't get over myself. That eShop was so good. It was just incredible to being able to click on the profiles that you wanted to click on and explore and browse around to games. And then there was different applications that you could click on, the Wii, the Virtual Console, pretty much everything was there. Everything that you've wanted from eShop. There was nice music, and it would change during what month it was. It was just overall just an amazing, fun experience. But, Nintendo Switch eShop, worst eShop of all time. But Nintendo Switch 2 eShop, now that we're getting game trailers that are just there, kind of like the Xbox, the Xbox kind of thing where the trailer just plays if you scroll up. But good eShop, bad eShop. Hopefully it doesn't turn out like the Nintendo Switch eShop, because that one right there, horrible. Now, when it originally released in 2017, it wasn't the worst thing in the world. It was kind of disappointing while there was no music and it was a little bit laggy. But as time went on, I feel like that thing right there got worse and worse and worse and worse. Maybe it's because of the games. It's not actually like an application. It's just like a web store. But, they could have fixed that and made a better browsing experience. Maybe I would have seen some better games on Nintendo Switch that I'd be like, you know what? Those games look pretty good. I'm gonna get those games. But yeah, I probably only spent maybe $100 Canadian on the eShop. I don't buy digital games, but when I do, I want a game that is really, really fun. Yeah, so overall, what do you think about this? Do you think a good eShop, you would need a good eShop on Nintendo Switch 2, or do you think? Yeah, I think I'm just there for the games, the physical games. You can also use the eShop if you're more a physical game person. You can use the eShop to browse for the games that you want to look and then try to get them physical. That's what I do a lot. Yeah, it's pretty interesting. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. With that being said, have a fantastic day. Consider to hit the like button, maybe the subscribe button. I'd really, really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Yeah, with that being said, see you in the next one.